Sarah Firth is in London for the latest. Sarah, good to speak to you. Good morning. So the death toll is currently 17. That's expected to rise. What more do we know at this point?
Well, police have said that absolutely their priority at the moment is going to be to try and identify just how many are still unaccounted for. As you said, 17 people are confirmed to have died in Grenfell Tower in that fire. Some 30 people remain in hospital, some of those in a critical condition. But police have said that they've received a huge number of calls, of missing person calls, friends and family that are absolutely desperate to find out exactly what happened to loved ones that they know lived in the building. But the operation is a very slow process for police and emergency services as they try and carry out that investigation into what happened. The building itself, the structure that remains of Grenfell Tower is considered unstable. So the emergency services are at the moment working to secure that structure. And we've heard that they've, in the meantime, been sending in dogs, special search dogs, into the building as part of that investigation. But they have warned that it is going to be a very slow process, possibly taking some weeks before we get a full idea of just how many people are still unaccounted for.
And Sarah, the police have launched a criminal investigation. Are we getting closer now to knowing the cause of the fire? There is some speculation out there, isn't there?
There is. So police have launched a criminal investigation. They're going to be looking in particular, we're told, at some of the building materials that were used on Grenfell Tower. There's been a lot of questions in the wake of this fire about the speed at which those flames were able to spread. We've watched a lot of video from eyewitnesses at the scene during those initial hours, and you can see just how rapidly the fire spread through that tower block. So the police are going to be getting on with that criminal investigation. And of course, the Prime Minister, Theresa May, also announced a full public inquiry. Understandably, you have seen tensions running quite high amongst residents. There's been an incredible outpouring from the community here in London. We've been down at some of the rescue centres speaking to people. You heard in Simon's report there that have been helping out with efforts, everyone really wanting to play a part because, of course, as well as the missing, you have a huge number of families that are now displaced that had been living in Grenfell Tower. But there is also a lot of anger too, a lot of big questions. And I think both the police and the Prime Minister making it clear that with this criminal investigation, with the full public inquiry, they want to answer those questions that understandably a lot of people have right now. But absolutely primary focus, as we said, for the police is going to be to try and identify just how many people are still unaccounted for.
And Sarah, finally, this has become quite politicised, hasn't it? We've seen the reception there that Sadiq Khan got. We saw the still images of Prime Minister Theresa May speaking to officials and Jeremy Corbyn hugging people. How is that playing out, and what have been some of the criticisms and adulations given to the politicians' response to this disaster?
Well, the Prime Minister was criticised on the back of her visit to the site yesterday. She went to Grenfell Tower. She met privately with the emergency services there, with the firefighters. It was a very low-key visit. You then saw the opposition leader, Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour leader. He went and spoke to some of the residents. Now, there were criticisms that the Prime Minister should have perhaps faced residents and spoken to them and heard some of their concerns. And wider as well, it's a wider political issue. This is social housing. That Grenfell Tower had housed social housing residents. There's a lot of talk about why it was that certain building materials possibly were used that shouldn't have been. So there is, as we said, emotions really running high amongst a lot of people at the moment in the immediate aftermath. I think people still trying to process just what happened. It was an absolutely huge fire. You heard from the head of the fire brigade saying that it was absolutely unprecedented. We've heard from the firefighters themselves that it's something that they've never faced before. So really a fire on a scale that was completely unexpected, and obviously in the wake of that, really big questions needing to be answered. And in the meantime, as we said, a large number of people displaced. Those efforts to try and get those those people rehoused continuing, and the inquiry going into exactly what happened, but also as the emergency services comb through that structure, trying to establish who is still missing.